Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go! Do you have absolute certainty on how you go from hello to yes on what you're looking for?
Sean is a master. He teaches. It's not just about sharing the formula with you. It's about making sure that we learn.
I went from $100,000 in debt from law school to having no money and starting my own law firm on my credit card to selling it 4 years later.
Sean and I, we co-created massive victories in 2 unwinnable jury trials, which are recognized nationally now as top 100 jury verdicts.
To be even on the same track with you, who I respect and admire and love with all my heart.
Never again submit. You're not better and you're not less than any human on earth.
When you shared with us about the Unblinded process and the mastery sales training, I just went, wow.
Sean will gain proximity to the most influential and powerful people. He will find out how he can grow their business, how he can help them personally. But the third thing that he does is the most important. Sean serves without an expectation of getting anything in return.
You have very, very high-performing colleagues.
22 years ago, you transformed my life as you did all these people's lives over the course of time. And I couldn't be more grateful. Let's hear it for Tony Robbins.
I don't see him as a lawyer, and I don't see him as a blind person. Someone who has subjugated his ego, who has taught me what serving really looks like.
You have this incredible ability to just have unconditional love for everyone, and that is just an incredible gift.
The moment you have been waiting for.
The American Blind Association is the first new face and voice of that association since Helen Keller.
Formula for formulas, which is exactly what I've learned from Sean. It's a language-based predictable model. We will have over 300 new sales meetings this month.
This superpower in the world that is attainable for you is the ability to influence people. If you believe that, say yes. If you believe that, say yes. Do you think that worked? I know that worked, Gina Ricci. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you, Sean Callagy. How are you?
I am delightful and grateful.
And what the heck are we doing here today, Sean?
I don't know. I thought you knew. So what we're doing here is playing with the superpower of influence. For all of us, our marketing, our selling, our managing, our leading, our fundraising, our recruiting, all of it is based on the superpower of influence, where we apply it and how we get ourselves to use it. We could be at the Capitol Grill, having lunch or dinner together, a little more efficient. We're doing it virtually. This was born in COVID. More than 525 shows we've done so far, more than 3,250 people, amazing people like these have been on the show. And we have our co-host, the one and only Bella Verita. This woman started selling crafts on her front lawn as an 8-year-old, progressed to being a 7-figure earner in the space of network marketing. Straight up, that is not easy to do. But even more remarkably, at the age of 24, became the #1 business broker in the state of Nevada. Youngest person ever to do it, and first woman ever to do it. That's extraordinary, Bella. And in 2019, every company that she worked with in sales training at least doubled their sales. That is absolutely crazy. Now co-host The Real Raw, continue to help companies grow, build, scale, standing for women in the space of influence, but not like women like against men stuff. Like, no, women in the unique dynamics that apply to them and going from hello to yes and deal with all of the unique complexities of influence in that space. And host The Real Raw. She also happens to be a little bit fun and funny. The one, the only Bella Verita. And she travels with thousands of adoring, cheering fans wherever she goes. She might share them with you today. Bella, what's your fun fact?
My fun fact today, Sean and everyone, is I one time out-wrestled a college baseball player, what's the word? He is a champion wrestler, was a champion wrestler with his high school, and he happens to be a top 100 national jury verdict attorney. I out-wrestled this person. That is my fun fact, Sean Callagy.
Oh my God, what a poor sap that dude is. Amazing. A little more details on that, and it may have been on Necker Island, Richard Branson's Island. But yes, that is actually an Integra story. More details, but Integra story. And Gina, we have some other heart-centered Integris people here as well today. who understand a thing or two about influence. Who are they?
Up first, joining us from Newark, New Jersey, 20 plus years in marketing, Sean, and advertising in the legal business. She's secretary of New Jersey Legal Industry Providers, ALM, New Jersey Law Journal Marketing and Sales, is a super connector in the world of law. Please, everyone join me in welcoming Vivian Distaso to Little Rock.
Vivian, maybe those are your traveling fans. Welcome. How are you?
I'm very good, Sean. Nice to see you again. I haven't seen you in a while. I was very excited to be connected with you again.
Yes.
You have an amazing team. Amazing team.
Vivian, thank you. And you're amazing yourself. What's your fun fact, Vivian?
Well, I wasn't sure. Everybody has all these exciting hobbies that they do. So I wanted to say a couple of things, but one of what I do is I'm a collector. I'm a collector of people. I hold on to people for my entire life. I don't let them go. Ooh. So I start from, I have a big, large family. So it's one of those families where you get to a party or an event and you say hello to everybody, and then, you know, you hang out, and then it's time to say goodbye again. And it's like another hour to say goodbye, an hour to say hello, an hour to say goodbye. So that's how I think I've been trained in my life, that I can do marketing and sales and walk into a huge convention hall with 1,000 people and just go coldly up to people and introduce myself and find out what they need. What do they do? What solutions do they need? What challenges do they have? And so that's how I've been trained. And like I said, I hold on to people from kindergarten, junior high school. Of course, I'm one of those people that ran the reunions. I'm one of those people. Having a college reunion this Saturday with my dear friends. On Sunday, I'm having a reunion with my coworkers from the Law Journal. Over the years, over 20 plus years, we're all going to get together at my former publisher's backyard barbecue. So I just love my family. I love people that I meet, people that I work with, and more importantly, the people that I help to help them grow their business and overcome their challenges in business.
That's awesome. Well, Vivian, thanks so much for being G-Money.
Next up from New York, Sean, this gentleman is an alum from not Columbia, but the H word and the Y. And the Y.
Whoa.
Yes.
Harvard and Yale bombs dropping?
Yep.
Princeton and Bulldogs are in the house?
So he's quite proud that I out-wrestled you.
He is listed as best lawyers in America, labor law and management for 2015 to 22, partner at Hodgkin, Russ. Please, everyone join me in welcoming Charlie Kaplan to the Real Rock.
Charlie, Harvard and Yale, is this true?
Yes, it is. As Jack Kennedy said, I have the best of both worlds. A Yale education and a Harvard degree, but I have 2 Harvard degrees. I picked up an MBA at the Harvard Business School and a JD at Harvard Law. But of course, all of that, you know, I still need a Metro card to get on the subway.
That's true. I feel really stupid having gone to the safety school of Columbia at this point. Charlie, awesome. And what's your fun fact, my friend, besides all of that extraordinariness?
Okay, well, I really, you know, before going into law, I really thought about being a historian. I had a fellowship when I was in college at Yale in 1974, and I was doing British Imperial research in British Imperial history in London at the Public Record Office in the British Museum. And when I was there, I met a gentleman named Sir John Miller Martin. I interviewed him. I went to interview him in the morning. He lived outside of Oxford, and ended up staying with, you know, having lunch with him. And it turned out that he had been Winston Churchill's principal private secretary during the Second World War. Wow. And he was in effect the gatekeeper for Churchill. And we became friends. And every time I'd be back in London after that, until he passed away in about 1990, we were in touch. And it really was a relationship that helped shape my life.
Wow, dude, extraordinary life, man. And what's the mission and vision for you, Charlie, at this point? What's life?
Mission and vision for me is to see how I can continue to help employers deal with workplace law issues.
Yeah, beautiful.
What I've been doing for 42 years.
Extraordinary. A lot of complexities in the space. There's always beautiful ways to protect people. A lot of messed up, crazy things happen. And Charlie, thanks for being on the job.
And thank you. It's a really wonderful opportunity to be with you, Sean.
Thank you.
And Bella.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlie.
Gina, got rock stars. Who else we got?
Joining us from Atlanta, Georgia, servicing the whole country though, Business Helpers Consulting Group, previously top producer, Sean, for the one and only Tony Robbins.
Wow.
and Chet Holmes in business development, 40-year plus real estate investor and serial entrepreneur. Please join me, everyone, in welcoming Alfred Leopold to the Real Raw.
Alfred, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Oh, that is awesome. So were you working directly with Chet and Tony back in the day?
I was. Yep. Had some good conversations with Chet, and I was in the business Breakthroughs International, and we had a lot of fun helping a lot of businesses and business owners and sales professionals. And eventually, I was asked to, when I got there, I said, what's the record? I want to beat it. I'm going to do it in two months, and I did it. So they put me on as I was the sales trainer. After that, I trained all the rest of that division when people came in.
Beautiful.
And and that was a lot of fun, and that's certainly a great experience. And over the years, I've met a lot of different business consultants, coaches, and a lot of people. When it comes right down to it, we're all here to help one another. And I do sales differently, and have for decades. Nobody I talk to that, some similar, but I haven't talked to very many people that do it the way that I do it, because when I talk to people, I'm here to help them to make the right decision for themselves.
Amen.
That doesn't have anything to do with whether or not they buy my product or service or they don't. If they make the right decision for themselves, at the end of that conversation, I'm happy, because that's what we're here to do. And so I will tell you that I'm a customer service oriented guy. I worked for Marriott Vacation Club. I sold $22,000 timeshare weeks over the phone. And in 2003, out of 80 guys and gals, sales executives in the office there, I was their number one guy. And the whole thing, and that's great. But what was even better, I got more than double the next closest salesperson customer service awards from Mr. Marriott, which are called Way to Go awards, right? So Mr. Marriott sends you a little letter when somebody calls you and mentions your name, and I got 24 Way to Go letters that year, the same year that I made the most money with them and sold the most timeshare weeks. And it really comes down to for me just helping people, and so what Vivian had to say, I loved it, because I was right on with her. My kids, I drive them crazy because I walk up to total strangers and introduce myself. And why not?
Why not? My kids hate it too. Right.
If you go to church and you come out of church and you see somebody you've never met before, why would you not introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with that? And the fact is, I'm sure, and I know you got some questions for me, but I will just tell you kind of a fun fact, because I know you're asking me.
He's ahead of the game.
He's ahead of the game.
He's a leader.
The fact that I'm here talking to you at all is a minor miracle, because I'm celebrating this summer the 4th anniversary of my new life, because I had a widowmaker heart attack 4 years ago.
Wow.
So the fact is that God's got a lot of work for me to do, and part of it is I got to help as many people as I can. I'm called to love others as God has loved me. And, part of that is reaching out that helping hand to people. And, I have met a lot of people over the years, a lot of different types of businesses and business owners. And the fact is that they're, most of the time, if only more people knew what that business did and how they help people, man, they'd have more business than they can possibly handle. But the problem is, not enough people know what they do. That's what it comes down to. And so, I'm here to help as many people as I can, and I'm loving it. And I will tell you that I've been deeply blessed and with what I do, and especially lately, because I've been helping business owners. I'm working with a company that's processed over $600 million in this payroll tax refund in the past 10 months, and they're about to process another $600 million in the next 5 months. And just about any business that had at least one employee, and I'm talking about nonprofits and churches and everybody else that I can help, they're eligible to get this money, and a lot of them don't have any clue that they're even eligible. And because most of their CPAs have told them they didn't qualify, or most of their tax professionals, even their chief financials officers. I've talked to many of them and say, hey, my CFO told me I didn't qualify. Well, you do. And the good news is we'll do a free peek under the hood and see if they qualify. No obligation.
Awesome.
And
well, thank you, Alfred, for that and for your heart and the cool reference to Tony, Chet Holmes. And appreciate you being here. We're going to have some fun today. So thank you, Alfred.
You're welcome.
G Money.
All right, next up of our last four guests from Caldwell, New Jersey. She's president of the Paralegal Association of New Jersey since 2020, paralegal at Braff, Harris, Sukoneck, Livingston, and was paralegal at Giblin and Holmes in Morristown. Please, everyone join me in welcoming Kerry, Mackey to the Real Raw.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
And the crowd goes wild, Kerry. What is your fun fact, please?
Fun fact. Well, some of you may have heard that we just had our 40th anniversary party for the Paralegal Association of New Jersey. We just had it last night. We had a big celebration. And I'm the president of the Paralegal Association, so it was a big night for all of us. I just want to say that I'm really happy to be here with you guys and excited for this opportunity to meet everyone and to share stories and to get to know everyone.
Kerry, awesome. Thank you for your leadership and all the beautiful things. We're going to have some fun today.
Let's do it.
Are you ready, Kerry?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Gina.
Next up from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, IP and business attorney, licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, patent and trademark office, chair of the Women's Law Division in Bucks County. She's proficient drafter of contracts, patents, trademarks, application, and fantasy football teams. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Nicole O'Hara to the Real Raw.
Nicole, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Although I have to say, I feel like I'm here as a foil for everybody else. You know, the Ivy Leaguers. You know, I'm here and I'm Team Rutgers all the way.
Let's go Scarlet Knights.
Go Scarlet Knights.
Oceano is back. So, by the way, we all feel that way. Like, do we belong? Should we be here? You more than belong. Are absolutely extraordinary. And Nicole, here's my question: if you had one fantasy football pick for this upcoming season, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, I haven't started to do any research, and I try not to let my heart get in the way of my brain and pick Eagles, but I very frequently pick Eagles. But we have some very good options at receiver this year, so it would probably be one of the two stars.
Nice. And how about your fun fact? Besides the fact that you're a fantasy football genius and creating other beautiful magic in the world, what is it?
So I don't really have a fun fact, although Vivian's sort of inspired me. And so instead of being a collector, I feel like I'm more of a connector. And so I'm not a super social person. I'm an introvert. I'm a typical patent attorney. And I'm super socially awkward, but I like to connect people to help them, you know, grow or whatever they need. And so I feel like that's like sort of my contribution to the world, that I, you know, to the extent that I can help based on my experience or my network, I always feel like that's something that I just should give back, right? Because it costs me nothing to do that. And so I always feel happy when I connect people either professionally or personally, and, you know, they can both benefit from it.
Well, it is clear that you're not at all super socially awkward. You seem to be unbelievably heart-centered, and we really appreciate being here today.
Thank you.
And Nicole, I want to just share with you also is, you know, it's not like where we go to school, because I was actually a high school dropout. I dropped out of high school, started selling drugs in my senior year, and I am just now going back to college.
Oh, you work for Pfizer?
No, I did not work for Pfizer. I just now went back to school at the beginning of this year to go to ministerial school, and I currently have a 4.0 GPA when I ended to where I'm at now. And so I just, you know, it's not where we go to school, but what we do in the world, and you obviously make a massive difference in the world. So I just wanted to.
Oh, well, and congratulations, because going back is very hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Nicole, thank you for being here. Gina.
Next, joining us from Plymouth, Virginia, serving over 16 states in the country, licensed insurance agent at American Income Life, and she is an EMT in Virginia Beach and a volunteer rescue squad first responder. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Shanna Roan to The Real Raw.
Shanna, how are you?
Well, a little nervous after all the people to precede me.
No, well, thank you so much for being here today. And what is your fun fact?
Oh, my fun facts. My history has been predominantly medicine. I have my MD from Boston University School of Medicine back in 2013. Oh. So jumping from this into insurance and life and health products, it's been an amazing journey so far, and it's very brief, but it's like night and day from something that was very paternalistic and coming now where we're partnering with people, trying to just figure out what exactly they need, trying to fill in any type of gaps that they may have. So it's like going back to school all over again. And I thought I was done with that part of my life and story, but it's starting back over at square one in certain aspects, but it has been amazing this last few months, actually.
What an extraordinary background in transition. So you're an MD and now you're moving into the financial services world?
Yes, and I still practice. I just, now I run rescue more so than anything else, but I only do that on the weekends. And so this is my regular day job. And then on the weekends, I'm doing that and homeschooling the 12-year-old, and my daughter's over in Iraq. So we're multiple hats. We're just trying to juggle and balance here.
And what is your daughter doing in Iraq?
She's in the Army National Guard. She's been deployed throughout the end of the year. So she has a 1-year deployment over there.
Thank you for her service. Bella's dad had super active military career in both Vietnam and Desert Storm. I don't have a military background. I'm actually blind, but I just got back from Ukraine. And it was extraordinary. The people we saw, the things that we did. So thank you for your daughter protecting our freedom. Gina.
Next, joining us from my neck of the woods down here in Monmouth County, he's a partner at Sobelhan, representing commercial and residential property owners, serves as the councilman in the township of Aberdeen, and has been elected 3 times since 2009. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Greg Cannon to The Real Raw.
Thank you.
Greg, how are you?
I'm doing great. Please forgive my lack of video. I'm having some issues. I came out in a few times, but I'm doing great otherwise.
Well, good,
how are you, Sean?
I'm doing well. And what is your fun fact, please?
Fun fact about myself?
Yes.
I'm elected to office, I think is a remarkable thing in 2022 that anyone still wants to do this.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Gina.
Sean, that was our final guest of the day.
Gina Ricci.
I know.
Gina Ricci.
Did you also say this thing so like the blind man would know it was the last guest? And like, should I stop doing that?
Yes. I know. Somewhere along the way I said I have 4 left, and then I forgot it in the end of the last one, Gregory Cannon. So we are ready. You are ready to rock.
Yes. So love you. Thank you. Beautiful. All the things. Let's go into this thing. So
all right.
Who's going first?
I think we should go with our good friend Charlie.
All right, Charlie, this is how this works, right? And this is a really smart dude. So he's going to get this, yes. Right? So what this is all about is the superpower of going from hello to yes with integrity. And that's obviously what Charlie's doing for his clients, but it's what everybody's doing in every conversation they have with every single human being, even if you want somebody to laugh at your joke or to smile. It's a hello to yes dynamic. So Charlie, Bella's going to be anyone you want her to be. She could be an ideal client. Heck, she could be a political official that you're seeking a yes from. She could be somebody that's an employee, teammate, anything you want. A relevant hello to yes to you. And you have 3 minutes. And it doesn't have to be, it's not like pitching, booking, closing. It's not making a sale. It's influence, heart-centered, integrous influence. And it could be just for a longer conversation about the topic. So Charlie, who would you like Bella to be?
I'd like Bella to be the CEO of I will say a mid-sized company.
Beautiful.
Nice. All right, CEO. She likes being the boss, Charlie.
I do like being the boss.
Take us in.
It's a very good role for me. Hello, this is Bella.
Yeah, hey Bella, it's Charlie Kaplan. I was calling you because, as you know, I've been representing employers in the workplace for over 40 years, And I know that every company has challenges, and I was wondering what some of the challenges that you're finding, you know, in dealing with the various laws and regulations that govern the workplace where, you know, that you're running.
So specifically, like, what are like the rules I'm having trouble with? Like, what exactly was the question?
Well, not as much as the rules, but what do you know, what are the employee relations challenges, you know, you're finding? I mean, these days, a lot of folks are having issues with, you know, workers coming back if they're remote. They're having issues with hiring because, you know, unemployment is low and workers are demanding a lot. I mean, you know, what kind of issues are you having?
Yeah, I would say, you know, definitely having the issues with, you know, people wanting to come back to work, you know, that we've been working at home for 2 years, or, you know, trying to provide kind of a hybrid model of, you know, kind of work from home, you know, and come in. Luckily, you know, the majority of our team has been here for a long time. And, you know, we like to provide a lot of magic in the workplace that causes them to want to come in. But I would say bigger than that is, you know, definitely hiring, because people don't really want to go back to work. And it has definitely been a challenge for us for sure, is, you know, and we don't want to overcompensate people that aren't going to get the job done.
And in addition, have you found challenges with, say, folks who are working remotely? I mean, are numbers, a good number of of the folks in your organization now not working all the time in the, you know, at the plant or in the office, but those who can work from home, are a lot of them working from home these days?
Yeah, well, we're requiring them to come in, and luckily that hasn't been too much of a challenge, because kind of we're doing the hybrid model where they can work a couple days from home, a couple days from the office, and we haven't really lost. I think we may have lost a couple of people coming back into the office, but that hasn't been as much of an issue. Like, there was kind of some grumbling, you know, like, ugh, do I have to? But, you know, now that we're back in the office and, you know, we're providing a lot of magic to come back in the office and, you know, having some fun here, as people are wanting to come back.
You know, one thing that a lot of employers are not aware about, and where myself and my team could help you, is that there are a lot of issues that arise when workers either work from home all the time or part of the time. And, you know, the legal issues, overtime issues, and that's clearly, you know, somewhere where we can help. Safety issues, tax issues, particularly if workers are working from outside of state. There are just a lot of issues folks don't think about, but which, you know, could really be a challenge and which could be expensive to you and your organization. Is that something you might be interested in discussing?
That definitely would, because now that you had mentioned it, you know, we have had some out-of-state issues, so I think it'd probably be worth another conversation.
So that'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
So we're Charlie. So the judge have to say in a moment, who's going next?
Next, we have Vivian.
Vivian's a rock star.
Yes.
Like, you understand, it's like total rock star. Yes. And those, the privilege of intersection of, I have 2 top 100 national jury verdicts, and their enterprise might have something to do with listing those. I was one of only 2 attorneys in America at a 1.2 million to do that. So I didn't note that earlier. But Vivian,
I noted it earlier when I mentioned that I out-wrestled a top 100 national jury.
Yeah, but you didn't say only one of 2 out of 1.2 million.
That's true.
To have 2 top 100 verdicts in those 3 years.
That's true.
That is true. So Vivian, contextualize. We believe in the contextualization. Contextualize in the context of the contextualization. I think I learned that at Columbia.
That's fancy.
But my Harvard friend could probably correct my grammar in English on that. So Vivian, who would you like Bella to be, to go from hello to yes?
So I'd like Bella to be a partner at a law firm.
Ooh.
And I just want to ask you questions of what your practice area is and what you do.
Perfect. I just bought out Caligula. Let's go.
Hi, Bella. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yes. So tell me again, what area of law do you personally practice, or your firm?
So our firm does business litigation, medical revenue recovery. We got a small family law department, but our 2 primary are business litigation and medical revenue recovery.
Very good. So I represent ALM, law.com, and we have 20 legal publications and brands all over the country and globally. We have staff of reporters and editors that do real news, everyday stories for the legal community. for our attorneys, the paralegals, the associates, and in-house counsel. We have corporatecounsel.com, and we do a lot of news for corporate counsel. The news is about their challenges, about their industries, about their practice of law, about their businesses, about litigation, cases. It's all of that. It's everything that lawyers need to know to run their business and to practice their area of law. What I like to share when I meet any attorney, whether they're an associate, a first year, a partner, a senior managing partner, do you interact with our news company, ALM, law.com? Do you submit articles to us?
We don't, but I would definitely like to find out information on how we would submit articles, and that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not on the editorial side. I want to just say I'm on the business and marketing side. But for lawyers, we always need hundreds of articles a year for our publications, because lawyers practice law. Our reporters don't practice law. Our lawyers practice law. And we look for those articles. We have special reports. We do commercial litigation issues. We do bankruptcy issues, intellectual property, real estate, family law, you name it. We have all different types of practice areas that we publish, and we always look for articles. So we can talk about that, and I can give you the names of those. What I do, and what I'd like to find out, so is your target audience, are they corporations? Are they corporate counsel? Are they other law firms or referral work? Who are your target audience?
I would definitely say working with other law firms for sure.
Okay. And I work with many law firms, and that's what they want. They want referral work. Right now, there's a big talent challenge, and people want to promote their firm and brand their firm so that the younger attorneys know who they are and to brand them. I also work with law firms to help them market to corporate counsel. And we can do very sophisticated campaigns with an AI platform right now to get your message directly to those corporate counsel that you want to meet. So those are some of the things that I can offer. I appreciate that you shared some of the information that you have, and perhaps we can set up another meeting and take it one step further and really delve deep into what your challenges are and if I have any solutions for you.
That would be extraordinary, Vivian. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think Caligy Law is going to write some articles, do some marketing. So I don't think you need to come back. I got the rest of it.
All right. See you later. No, excellent job, Vivian. Excellent job. Charlie, let's get to the judges.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's start with our good friend, Alfred. And Alfred, Kerry, Greg, Nicole, Shanna, what this looks like is we give 30 seconds of feedback to Charlie and then to Vivian. Something that they did great, maybe something that they could optimize and get a little better at. And then a score of 1 to 10. 1 being you would rather go to the dentist and have a root canal than have a longer conversation. 5 being if they bought you a cup of coffee, you'd meet them at Starbucks. And 10 being you would fly anywhere in the world just to have a longer conversation. So Shanna, let's start with you. How about your 30 seconds of feedback for Charlie?
All right. Charlie, I like how you rephrased or parroted what she said in part of the trying to find her problem solution. Now, the questions posed, they were very long-winded, so I had to make sure I understood the question before before she answered it. And I thought she had repeated the question to make sure she had it right. But that might just be a style thing that I'm unaccustomed to. In terms of and now it's Vivian's turn, or do I go ahead and break him? I'm sorry.
Yeah, score of 1 to 10.
Okay, 7. You know, say. Wonderful.
No, go 1 each.
Oh, sorry. Yes. We got 5 judges today. So let's go over to Alfred. Alfred, your 30 seconds of feedback for Vivian.
Oh, for Vivian. Yeah. Okay. Because I was going to tell Charlie a thing or two, but that's all right. No, I actually thought Vivian did a great job. I think it was very clear about what she's trying to accomplish and how she can help. And I thought she got a lot of great points in a very short period of time. So great job, Vivian. I thought it was very clear and very appealing. What now?
Your score for Vivian?
I'd certainly give her a 9.
Ooh.
Wow, thank you.
Nice. From Alfred, excellent.
Yeah. Let's go with Kerry. How about your 30 seconds of feedback for Charlie?
Okay, Charlie, I also agree that some of your questions were a little bit long-winded, that I did put down that you need to get the point across a little bit better of what you're asking. You did ask a good follow-up question that I think she finally got to what you were looking for. I would give you a 7.
Beautiful. Nice. Awesome. Thank you, Kerry. And let's go to Nicole. Nicole, your 30 seconds of feedback for Vivian.
So I was really impressed by the breadth of services that Vivian kind of ran through. I thought that it could be, I always think it's helpful to frame things in terms of the problems you can solve for someone, especially something like, marketing. It is one of those black box issues. So I think that it's a good area to say, here, this is what I can do for you. Here's why I do it better than anybody else. And here's why I can do it much better than you could do for yourself. And obviously not in those words. And I would give her a 9.
Beautiful. That's awesome. And then Gregory, for you.
Let's flip a coin.
No. How about like 15 seconds of feedback for Charlie? Because that's how I do. Like, I'm the boss, so I can say no. Yes. How about like 15 seconds of feedback for Charlie and a score, and 15 seconds of feedback for Vivian and a score?
Sure. So for Charlie, I think he just needs to be more direct. I think that I thought the last piece of advice was very apt, that I understood what the point he was getting to, but I think he should just be more direct. Total score, probably like 7. For Vivian, I thought the presentation was awesome. Inflection in her voice and keeping me engaged was great. And the only thing that I thought was missing from the presentation is the question about maybe open with more questions. I guess I had a feeling you'd ask me about Vivian since I'm a partner at a law firm. And the only thing I thought was missing was tailoring those services to the individual partner. So, the first question should be, what practice areas are you doing? And how can, like, ALM's advantage to lawyers is updating them with most up-to-date information and getting their faces out there. And so, a question about how perhaps you're advertising now, something like that gets to the client's needs, and then match them with those services.
Beautiful.
Was the only
Vivian?
8.5.
Beautiful.
8. Thank you.
Awesome.
Bella, Gregory just inspired me. So I forgot about something that I wanted to say about Vivian too, is just by giving her a score of a 9 that she clearly earned. I also thought that it is helpful as a connector, right? When we're talking about different facets of what ALM does, to say, oh, well, I don't do that, but actually this person I work with does that. I can connect you. I'll do an email introduction. I always feel like it's helpful to do that next step, because I do think people appreciate it if you go, connect them with people that can help them, even if it's not your department or your firm or your whatever.
That's exactly what I would do in my follow-up. You're absolutely right, Nicole. Yes.
So we are going to turn the tables today on a fun thing that we've done this, and we're going to put Bella on the hot seat. So Bella is going to have to go from hello to yes now, and we're going to create a scenario with everyone. Are you guys ready for this?
Oh boy. This is not fair. I get to turn the tables on you.
Nope, you're going. So I'm going to pick a number from 1 to 7, between 1 and 7. So let's go, Vivian. What number do you think that is?
What number from 1 to 7 that you are thinking of?
Yes, I have it under the table.
Okay, 4.
It is a 4. So Vivian has it. So Vivian, here's what's going to happen. You're going to give a scenario to Bella have to go from hello to yes in that scenario. And in that scenario, you could say anything or assign it to somebody else that's here. So in the assignment, you'd be like, okay, Charlie would have to do it, or somebody else, or you get to do it. Bella could have to go from hello to yes, being an attorney about something. She could have to be influencing governmental officials. She could be doing anything in the world under the sun about anything, or just like selling a traditional service, including service that you sell. So would you like to set Bella's scenario or assign it to somebody else?
I'm going to assign it to somebody else. I'm going to assign it to Charlie.
All right, Charlie, what do you want to make Bella have to go from hello to yes? And on the show, we've done scenarios where like we have to be President Biden, President Trump. We've had to convince conservative New Jersey attorneys to go to Burning Man, or just like sell services. The only requirement is that it is integrous, meaning it should actually make sense if they say yes, we're not selling swampland in the middle of New Jersey or New York.
Right. I'd like her to convince Mitch McConnell to support some reasonable gun control legislation.
Okay. And now, since we have super fun energy completely, I'm just kidding. So I will do the scenario and you will not have to.
I was like, oh boy, I don't know anything about Mitch McConnell. Like, I'm new here.
My listening was like heart palpitations were present, all sorts of things were happening. So that was my fun energy. Since you told your no boss stuff, I thought I would have some fun back. So we have a lot of fun here. So I will take the scenario. Who would you like, Charlie, to be Mitch McConnell?
I'd say Alfred.
Ooh, I like this. Alfred, are you up for being Mitch McConnell?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do the beautiful things. Okay, so Mr. McConnell, I am deeply honored and grateful, Sean Callagher here, that we have 3 minutes for this conversation. It is an honor and a privilege. Is it still a good time, sir, if we have this conversation?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So, Mr. McConnell, I will honor the time clearly, but may I ask you a quick question?
Of course.
Yeah. Why do you still do what you do? We've signed NDAs. None of this is recorded. I am under the penalty of almost death for disclosing anything in our conversation. I will honor that. But I would love to know, sir, why do you still do what you do for our nation? After all these years of service, what continues to drive you, Mr. McConnell?
Well, I love serving people. I think it's something that I have been called to do. And I know that I can help not just the people in my state, but obviously been privileged enough to be able to help a lot of people around the country. And I've got a lot of constituents that I have to answer to, and I have to understand why they want me to do what they want me to do and why they want me to represent them. And I like doing that.
It's a beautiful thing. And Mr. McConnell, how do you balance your constituents with the incredible role you have in our Congress and the nation overall? So how do you balance the interests of your constituents versus the nation as a whole?
That is tough, but I do think the state that I come from, we've got some very reasonably minded people, and I think that it translates well across the country. I know got a lot of tough issues that we have to deal with, but I think that it's that's what I would say as far as balance.
And if you had one wish for our nation, Mr. McConnell, for our nation, and one thing to share with the people of America from your heart, forgetting party lines for a second, what would that be? What's that wish for America and message for American people?
We need to reach out to one another. We need to love one another. We really need to be peacemakers. And we need to help those who need to be helped when they need to be helped, not look the other way. There are a lot of people in this country that we could get the signs ahead of time if they're in distress, and we don't pay attention. We need to do more of that.
Yeah. Mr. McConnell, I'm feeling your heart. I'm feeling your desire for service and to make great things happen. Sir, we're down to our final minute. Would it be okay if I shared just a little bit about something that may resonate with you?
Of course.
Yeah. So there's no way, Mr. McConnell, that I'm going to be able to explain or discuss in depth anything that I'm thinking about. But the introductory concept is, sir, what if there was a way to actually create unity in America? And what if there was a way to discuss every complex issue, from abortion rights to gun control and every other complicated thing we could ever think of, and to bring alignment to people? What if that's possible? And what if I were to tell you that I spoke in Los Angeles 2 months ago to a group of people very far to the left, and I opened the conversation by saying, make the sound of how you feel about Donald Trump. Predictably, it was awful, horrendous, screaming, yelling, agony. And then I said to them, what if I told you that I voted for Donald Trump in 2016? And make the sound of how you feel about that. And the entire room went crazy and booing and all the things. And what if I told you that I said, hold open space for me for 10 minutes? And what if you incredible people from Los Angeles, I could make you cheer for Donald Trump in 9 minutes and 45 seconds from this moment? Would that give you hope for how we can come together as a nation? And 9 minutes and 45 seconds later, they cheered for Donald Trump and for me. So, sir, if you were to grant me a 1 hour meeting under our NDA, I would present to you, sir, how an approach to gun control, an approach to the conversation could be the stepping stone for your vision of America and love, compassion, and unity that crosses the aisle, crosses party lines, and takes anyone, Mr. McConnell, who stands in resistance out of integrity for positions that forward our nation and would expose them and bring what the American people truly want, which is unity. If any of that resonates with you, sir, I would be honored to spend an hour with you. What say you, Mr. McConnell?
Of course, I would be open to doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll set it up at a roll. Thank you, Alfred. You did a wonderful job. How did that feel for you as me convincing Mr. McConnell?
Well, I will say that we never got to the actual point of you convincing Mr. McConnell. So in some ways, it's hard for me to say that you accomplished that, but you certainly opened the door. So if that was your goal, to open the door, certainly you opened the door. But as far as convincing him, I don't think you had enough time to convince him, first of all. But certainly, at least you opened his mind to having a conversation. I guess that would be my feedback anyway, is that I certainly don't think you convinced him of anything other than spending some more time with you.
I would quibble with that. I would question whether or not I convinced him of the beginning pre-frame of receiving what we're talking about through a very new paradigm. Because what we teach here is, how do you take somebody's paradigm, their context, and when they're resistant in a space, and create a larger context that's in alignment and begin to open listening. So absolutely, Alfred, there's no way I was trying to convince Mitch McConnell of what to do in 3 minutes. Right. What I was looking to do, which I know you're a genius at because of your work and all the things you've accomplished in your life. P.S. I had the privilege of being at Tony Robbins' house a week ago. Yep. And I've spoken on stage there 15 times. So I'm clear on the master that you are, and everything that I'm sharing, about pre-framing and contextualization. So we were looking to create that to open that listening. So I think a lot of times folks directly enter a space of conflict and try to convince of something else. And what if we can change it to a higher space of alignment and drop back down? And that's a lot of the work that we talk about, whether it's in fundraising or selling or building all the things, again, which I know you are an expert in. So that was the objective.
And I agree with you that you framed it, and you framed it to continue the conversation. But if you actually asked me, did you do what Charlie asked you to do? I have to say no, because you didn't convince me of gun control specifically to change my mind or something, because once again, you didn't have enough time to do that. So you may have begun the conversation, which is a good starting point, which is of course important, but I'm just going literally by the literal definition of, did you convince me on gun control? And you see what I'm saying? So I still have to say no. I know you quibble, but I would say that we started the conversation. You got part of the way there, but you would need much more time than the limited time that you had to convince me.
If I might interject, I really think that getting a busy senator, particularly the minority leader of the Senate, to agree to meet with you for an hour is a real accomplishment. Yep. And the reality, obviously, you can't, on a complex issue like this, an elevator speech, or 2-3 minute, But I think, you know, what Sean did is not only did he set it up, but he, by the way he set it up, talking about having a group of far left folks cheer Donald Trump. I think that's really intriguing, and it's something that would prompt Mitch McConnell, who of course has issues with Donald Trump, but still, you know, obviously as the Republican leader, I think to be very interested in having a conversation with you know, Sean.
Well, Charlie,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, no,
I want to add something too, because that's along this topic, because, you know, I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, you know, we had the unfortunate incident of the mass shooting in Texas. And the very next day, because Sean hosts a huddle every single morning with, you know, our entire ecosystem. And he spoke into that issue of, you know, gun control and guns and all of that. And I had never seen anyone that opened the listening of everyone in, no matter what side of the fence that you were on. I'd never seen anyone open and listening of an entire audience with such neutrality that would cause, like, whether people were on the, like, I need to mourn all day and, you know, all guns should be out of this country, or like, let's get down to business and let's, you know, guns are okay. Like, no matter where anybody was, I've never seen anyone that opened the listening of both and brought everyone into unity. It was absolutely masterful the way, like, you speak into the listening of others. And I think that is relevant to the topic today.
No, well, thank you. And that's the mission, right? Is we all, I have a mother that watches Fox News, a father that watches CNN, and they are been divorced since I was 1, and they want all the same things. So I believe that as a country, 99% of people want the same things, and we find ways to fight about the most polarizing of issues and complexity. And so how do you have that conversation and begin to pre-frame it and set it, I think is a beautiful message. Charlotte, I love the scenario. I'm so grateful for you being here today.
Thank God I didn't have to do it.
Yes. How was your time with us, Charlie, in the Real Raw today?
I think it was terrific. I really learned a lot, and I really appreciated the feedback. And I'd like to offline hear some of the things that Alfred might have thought about my presentation, because I think it would be helpful to me.
Yeah, we'll love it. We'll connect everybody up for sure. Nicole, thank you so much for being here today, sharing your heart. What say you? How was your time with us today?
It was great. I thought it was really interesting, and I I'm always fascinated by the people that have charisma and charm and just general likability, that ability to connect with human beings, because I'm just, kind of logical and cynical. And so I like the idea of, even if you're talking to someone with whom you have nothing in common, just keep going upward and more global until you come up with something that you can agree with, right? And come to common ground. So I'm always intrigued by watching that happen.
Oh, well, thank you, Nicole. And I'll just say this: I'm right on the bubble of introvert extrovert. I did not have these skills in high school. In fact, when I was at Columbia University, I had some, I was 4-year starter in baseball. I didn't like some of the behaviors of people that lived in, my baseball house when I was a sophomore, and I didn't know how to communicate about it. So I just withdrew. So these skill sets were learned. And the only thing I would offer you as a possibility is you're a brilliant person, you're a great communicator, is perhaps you are much more able to connect with human beings than you're even present to. And a few micro distinctions can create unbelievable change in any human being's influence. And I clearly find you to resonate. You're authentic, you're transparent, and that is very appealing. So thanks for being here, Nicole, and for all your courage and vulnerability.
Beautiful. Let's go to Kerry.
Kerry, how was your time with us today?
Very interesting. I like how we have to come up with scenarios and then we could critique the other person, and it's an open environment to speak with one another and nicely critique others and to help them with their field or with their company. I like this environment. It's a lot of fun.
Well, appreciate you and thank you for being here. Beautiful. Vivian, great to reconnect. Thank you for being here. How was your time with us?
It was wonderful. And Charlie, thank you so much for being a good sport and being my lifeline. I thought there was like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you were my lifeline because I froze. but you really hit a home run and had the great question. And Sean, you melted my heart, and you melted Mitch McConnell's heart that you got your foot in the door at least, because there's no way you were going to get him to, convince him on gun control in 2 minutes, but you got in the door. You disarmed him, and that was wonderful. What a skill set you have, really. It was amazing to watch that happen.
Appreciate you and look forward to doing more of it. So thank you so much. Shauna, super impressed. I'm so wildly intrigued by like MD to financial world. Incredible. How was your time with us?
Amazing. Hearing the different perspectives when they started off with the earlier participants and being able to judge those, and then hearing the contrast of yours, the whole reframing, you still managed to tell a story in that, and you still stuck in that framework. I'm still trying to figure out how in the world you told so much in that same 3-minute period of time without actually pitching anything, just getting your foot in the door. So I'm still replaying a few of those moments, but I was very impressed.
Thank you. And as are we with you. I think we've touched with everybody, right? So listen, we couldn't be more. Except for me. Oh, okay. Well, Alfred is there. So Alfred, I thought we started with you, Alfred. So how was your time with us today, Alfred?
It was great. I had a lot of fun. And I have to say that, telling stories and giving examples of success is one of the best ways for you to be able to communicate what you need to communicate. And so, Charlie, that's one of the things that I would recommend to you, is that you give people those little bits of success story, because people, when you're able to talk to somebody in order to, get them, just like Sean did, to be able to say, hey, if I can tell you a way that you would be shocked at how I had some success, would that translate well for you? And usually it does, so that's another thing that I certainly recommend, which obviously Sean and the gang are doing well.
No, well, thank you. And Alfred, thank you for being here and to have worked with Chet, Holmes, and Tony to be the leader in selling all the different ways you do it. It is clear you're a master. And we talk about is that there's a scale of mastery and influence. It's not like, am I good or not? And really the game begins, like once you enter the top 1%, things compound exponentially. How does Oprah Winfrey go from facing every obstacle imaginable, teen pregnancy, gender bias, racial bias, sexual abuse trauma, and become somebody that has the level of influence she does, which is hundreds of thousands of times an ordinary human being. And it's because there's these micro distinctions that separate people. And that's the study of our life. And Alfred, clearly you've done that. Your entire career is very, very high level. So we're very thankful you were here today.
Thank you. And by the way, please, and I'm sure everybody else feels the same way, you have my cell phone number. Text me. I'd be thrilled to have a personal conversation with any of you.
And let's all connect on LinkedIn. I sent a note out to each of you to connect on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So we can keep in touch with one another.
Yeah. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you all. We appreciate you guys. I think that there's like a lot of incredible things we can do in the world. I may be physically blind, but I do think we're all blind at some level.
And just learning to see. Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a great day.